Hey guys, welcome to Crafting in My PJs. It's Millie here. Well, I've had another technical difficulty, and this is part 3 of our series on making a junk journal from a little golden book, and this one is specifically the Christmas story. Now, my microphone didn't work or something, so I'm having to voice over, and I do apologize for it. In our previous videos, we made the cover for the little junk journal and the little golden book, and we made 2 signatures. So today we're going to take those 2 signatures and we're going to sew them into the cover that we made for this book. So if you are here watching this video, welcome. Please give me a thumbs up. And if you like these kind of videos, please give me a subscribe. I really appreciate it. So our tools for this video are, number one, I have this ruler, and it's a magnetized ruler because we are going to have to cut off a very sliver of paper from the end. Because as you put papers into signatures, they gradually work their way out and makes it longer, and so you have to cut off that excess so everything fits into your journal really well. The mat I'm using is a magnetized mat, so this ruler is going to fit right on top of that. Also, we have a bone folder, a knife for the cutting, we have some scissors, a needle. It's a very large needle with a dull tip on it. That's how we're going to sew. It has a big eye, so it's easy to thread. We have some embroidery floss in red, and that's what we're going to use to sew our signatures on. We're not going to separate it or anything. It's going to stay whole. And I have my crocodile to make the holes. Some people use an awl, but we're going to use that. And a marker kind of thing just to show where we're going to make our holes at. And I also have a template. Oh, most important, coffee. Forgot about that. I also have a template that we're going to use to make our marks so we know where to make our holes. All right, so, there it is. There's the template. I use this template specifically with Little Golden Books. It's kind of measures just for that. Usually I only put 2 signatures in to Little Golden Books because they come with 2 signatures. And I add to those signatures, but I don't add extra signatures. So, fits right there on the spine. I make my little marks where the holes are, and it's all a good thing. All right, so let's get going. Oh, we also have some clips, because sometimes clips are nice for keeping the signatures together so things don't move around while you're making all your marks and while you're sewing and all of that good fun stuff. Okay, so one thing we're going to do is we're going to go through our books and we're going to make sure our pages are facing the right way, like not upside down, and that they're in the order we really want them in. I usually put an envelope in the middle. I actually took this envelope out when I went to sew. It didn't line up well and it got in the way, so I took that envelope out. But you want to make sure everything is facing the same way, and go through and take your bone folder and give all of those folds a really good crease. It trains those papers to stay folded, gives you a neat appearance, and it also moves everything kind of into the right place so it's not poking out or bulging out as much. All right, so I'm making sure I have everything right side up, in the right position. Things that might not be an entire page high, you could put up, you could put down. So you want to make sure everything is lined up. I did take my little doilies. I clipped off the top so that it lined up well. There you go. Looking good. All right, and this envelope originally it was going to stay in, so I wanted it to be more to the bottom so that we could read the top when we open that center of that signature. So kind of keep everything in place. Give it a good banging, a good tap, tap, tap on your table. Some people take a ruler and they kind of like jam it in the middle and get those signatures in place. All right, then when you get everything where you want it to go, put a clip or something, a big paper clip, a big binder clip, something to keep everything where it needs to be. And if you're worried about these clips making a mark on your pages, you can put a scrap piece of paper right there underneath the blade and it'll protect your signatures. These are pretty thick pieces of cardstock, so I think I'm safe. All right, so now we're going to cut off this edge here. It's just a little too long. So I'm going to line it up with the first page of the book. You can see it right there. And everything has to be at least that far in so it doesn't poke out. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line it up with that first page, and I'm going to use my little lines and grids on my magnetic board. Get everything lined up. I take my time trying to get this all nice. And then I am going to take my box cutter blade and I'm going to run it along the edge and I'm going to trim off the excess paper. Okay, so it's not going to be that much we cut off. It's just a little bit. So let's get everything lined up. Then take your cutter. And we're just going to slice it. It might take a couple of swipes of the cutter. If you have problems with your hands and you can't press too hard, you can do it in a few swipes. Here we go. Two and three. See how nice that ruler stays there? And it has magnets and it sticks to the board and feels heavy because of the magnets, so it helps stay. And then just take your scissors and clip off if something didn't go quite all the way through. There you go. All right. Now on to signature 2. Again, we're going to line up with that first page of the little golden book right there. And get everything lined up with the grids, get the ruler on. Boy, it takes me a really long time to get everything lined up. I just want to be sure. If you make a mistake and if you cut off too much, it is only paper and you can fix it. And so my cockatoo Gabby is in the background. She has decided to join us in this voiceover. She joins me in a lot of videos. All right, there you go. Oh, you can see my stitching. All right, let's see how everything looks. We've got them both trimmed down now, so let's put them inside the book. Put the folded parts flush against the spine. And the top looks good. I think we did a nice job lining that up. But I'm seeing a little bit of white hang over the edge right here. So maybe we need to trim just a hair more off. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to trim just a little bit more off. I can't even tell you if that's a true measurement. Like It's not even 1/8. Maybe it's 1/16. It's just a hair. There we go. There's one. That is actually signature 1. And now signature 2. As I take an immeasurably long time to line everything up for you. We're going to slice again. There we go. Just a hair off. All right, and that's a little bit sticking out right there. Let's get that off. All right. No, I missed a piece. Darn it. Now, ultimately, we're going to add lace and maybe ribbon to the ends of some of these pages, and that's going to stick out too. So if it's not totally perfect, it's okay. There we go. Now that looks good. See, I can't see any white at this point, which is good. All right, and we are ready now. We have everything ready to go. We are ready to start trying to sew these signatures in. So I'm going to take my little stencil right here. I'm going to center it. I'm going to use my marker, and I can tell you, since I've already recorded this, this marker doesn't work. So we're going to have to do everything with a second marker in about 10 seconds. Line it up. I do like having the lines on the material. And so I had made this stencil a while back because with 2 signatures in a little golden book, I do about, I think it's 1.5 inches. So 3/4 of an inch per signature. And so I made this stencil, and it just really helps me keep things even. So here we go with take 2 with the marker that actually works. And do I throw away the marker that's not working well? No. I stick it back in the bucket so that I'll run into it again. Now remember, or maybe you remember if you saw one of the past videos, we put that little ring on so we can attach a tassel. None of our signatures are going to run into that stitching wise because that ring is up high on the spine, and our signatures, our holes are about 1 inch in. So now I'm just marking on the signatures where those lines, where those holes are, the little circles that I made, so that we can make the corresponding circles on the new signatures, on these signatures. Well, I guess they are new. I don't know. And you try and get that mark really on the fold. I had trouble with the second signature because of the way I fixed the paper at the end. All right, we're using the big Crop-A-Dile. I like it because you can get almost all of the signature in. And I'm using the smallest of hole punches. Some people use an awl, A-W-L, and they make their holes with that. I just like my Crop-A-Dile. It'll go through all of these, whatever cardboard I have that I've made the cover with, and it'll go through all of the pages of the signature. And so we're just punching holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. Okay, not quite deep enough, but I can just turn it around. 5, 6. Had a little thread caught on there. 6. There you go. All right, we have our 6 holes. Now we're going to punch holes in the signatures. There they are. Looking good on the back. If you see any kind of something you don't like, you can take a pair of scissors and trim it off in that fabric. All right, so we're taking, this is actually our second signature. It's going to go in the back, and we are going to punch holes where we made those marks. So I am going to put this binder clip back, or this bulldog clip back, to make sure that envelope doesn't move. But just an FYI, I end up getting rid of that envelope. I don't like the way it's sewed in. So it's really hard to get that crease to the envelopes right there where you make the holes. But if it's off just a little, you can come back and refold the flap. All right, let's see. All right, getting everything lined up. Now, I can tell you, this one gave me a little bit of trouble because of the way I folded that very last page. Because I folded a piece of cardstock back in, I couldn't see where my mark was, so I had a little bit of problem there. Went much smoother with everything else. Just this one. This one gave me all kinds. See how I put my finger and it pulled it up? It's because it's folded back over. So it gave this extra piece of cardstock, and I couldn't see my marks, and I had to get that hole in there. Oh my goodness. Look how much I have to fiddle with this. Typically, it's not a lot of fiddling. It's only because I made this weird page. I had the flap coming up for the pocket on the outside. All right, I think I have it. I think I have it. Go ahead, Mill. No, try again. Darn it. Did it. All right. Let's get that second one. Hurry up and get it before you lose your nerve. And push. All right. Now it's really tough going through all of this cardstock, but that big bite crocodile, it is wonderful. Again, having trouble seeing it, having trouble getting that hole. I'm going to take, I think, a white pen and mark on the outside of the crocodile exactly where the hole punch comes out. All right, so now we're moving on to the first signature. And because I didn't do that funny fold of cardstock, this one's much easier. I could find my marks easily and line it up with the crocodile and then just punch away. Well, maybe. because not only are you lining up on the dots you made, but you're really trying to get on that fold. And it actually might be easier if you flip it over, make your marks on the inside, and then punch there. I've always done it this way, but you know what? The other way, now that I'm thinking about it, it might be slightly easier. All right, hold number 2. With my arm in the way, punch. There we go. Then I have to turn it around and get the last one. And I'm pretty sure this one I was way off and had to go back and make a second hole. Now, I can see where having an awl would be much easier because you're just putting that pointy piece of metal right on your lines you've made. But then you have to push it through or something to get it through the paper. So that might make it harder. Like, I really like the Crop-A-Dile because it just punches. All right. And that is done. So we have both signatures, all of our holes, and we are ready. We are ready to sew these suckers in. There's my thread, there's my needle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thread out and I'm going to measure 3 times the length of the book. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to cut it off right there. And that should give us plenty of thread to sew in. Like those big eyes on the needles, don't have to stress too much. Now we're going to start in the center hole. You're going to put your signature up against it, and we're going to start in the center of the signature. Oh, look at that, the book was upside down. Make sure your book is right side up. Please do. And the stitch that we're going to do, I think, is called a pamphlet stitch. Wherever you start is where the tail of your string is going to end up. So we're starting in the middle, right here. I did take that envelope out. I wonder if you notice. So we're going to start right in the middle, and we're going to put our needle through the middle, leaving a tail of thread. Oh, I had some thread issues. There we go. All right. Put it through, quite easy-ish. You might have to wiggle. You might have to kind of look through the pages. Make sure you're going through the holes if it's not going through on the first shot. There we go. And I had taken the clip off of this one because this is actually the second time I'm trying to sew it in because that envelope gave me trouble. We're going to go through the center hole. Make sure your signature is right side up too. I've sewn them in upside down before and had to redo the whole thing. Go up to the top hole, come through there, through all the holes in the pages. Then we're going to come all the way down and go back in the bottom hole. So you're going to have one long string on the inside, or stitch, one long stitch. Go through that bottom hole, go through the bottom hole of the spine, come back up, and we're going to come back through that middle hole where you started. That gives you 2 long stitches on the outside. Now we're going to come in and we're going to try and get our thread Well, yeah, you got to go through all the pages again. We're going to try and get our thread the tail that you had left on one side of this long stitch, and the needle coming in on the other side of the long stitch. So basically you're going to have a string on either side of the long stitch. All right, let's see. Let me put one of those strings. One's on one side. Oh, I have a little bit. I came up in between. All right, so one's on one side. We're going to give it tug, 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 tug. Not too tight, but you want it snug. So one string on one side, the other string on the other side. If you want to make them even at this point, the two extras, you can finagle things to make them even. Mine are even enough. So we're going to tie one knot. We're going to tie 2 knots. And we're going to tie a 3rd knot to grow on. There you go. And then I'm going to make a little bow. You can also leave these hanging down and add charms and things on them. That's really cute too. There we go. Nice little bow. And you can trim your edges now if you want them the same length. I probably will double knot that bow too so it doesn't go anywhere. Alright, so the first signature is in. Now we're going to do that same procedure with the second signature. Make sure it's right side up. Don't put it in upside down. Going to get another piece of string. Going to measure it out. 1, 2, 3. Cut it off. Thread your needle. And thank goodness I haven't lost it yet, because, you know, I lose the needle about 15 times doing this. All right, go through that center hole. Same thing we did before. Center hole in the spine to the outside. Then we're going to come up and go back in the top hole. Then back through the pages. Top hole, pages. Pull. Then one long stitch down to the bottom hole. Going to go through the bottom hole of the pages and then the spine. Just making sure that tail hasn't come back through the hole. Sometimes that happens when things are wiggled around. Then we're going to come up to the middle hole, the center hole of the spine. Come back through the pages. And again, we're going to set up one tail on either side of that center stitch. There's that center stitch. Either side. And then we're going to give firm tug to get everything in place. Tug, tug. And then we'll start making our knots. One knot. 2 knots. 3 knots. And a small bow. There you go. Look how cute. And we have successfully sewn in both of our signatures to our book. There you go. Looking good. Looks good at the top. Give it a good tap around to get everything in place. You can barely see our strings because of the material we used, but there are stitches on the side. Some people string buttons on there, and that's really cute too. And there's the cover of our story, and we are all done. Everything in. We can kind of give it a little cursory walkthrough here. Make sure we have all our pages right side up in the right order. Can't tell you how many times I've had to redo things. That's in the right place. It's up at the top. Looking good. Everything is looking really good. It's in a nice spot. Things aren't crooked. I like it. All right, that's our second signature, making sure everything's looking good there. All right. So we have now finished sewing in our 2 signatures into our cover. And this is the end of our part 3. For part 4, we are going to look at making some tags to go into some of these pockets. And we are going to look at a digital kit that I purchased to embellish this book. So that'll be part 4. And then part 5 will be making our tassel and our closure to our book and a walkthrough of the finished embellishments, because I am not going to make all of my embellishments in a video. I'm going to do that after our next video. I'm going to do all of that, and then I'll show you our finished product. All right. There we go. 2. Got our little tassels going to go there. Our closure there. And we're getting there. I think the hardest yet most fun part is coming, which is decorating everything. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. And I've got to get it done quickly for Christmas. So I want to get it done as soon as possible. But I want to thank you for joining me for this video. I hope that you stick around for part 4 and part 5. And if you haven't already, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Comment below. Love to hear comments or read comments. Tell me what you would do differently. Tell me what you like. What's your favorite part of this so far? All right. I think we're done. So y'all have a great day, and I'll see you next time.